these experiences that people have or crave or experience in these non-ordinary states have a meaning, have a purpose, have a history. And the history is that many others have trod this road before us. The yogi, the shaman, the spiritual seeker, right throughout time, right throughout space, right throughout the cosmos perhaps. Like there may be beings that are at higher levels of vibration frequency to us who are more advanced in consciousness, who we call the gods, the angels, or the spirit guides, who have just evolved to a higher level of consciousness and are here now to try and encourage us to do the same. Just like we are trying to do the same for our clients, for the people who come to us for healing and help. Maybe we are being helped. And maybe in that shamanic sense, when you take that journey into the other world and you meet those guides, you're calling on them to help you, and they do. And then you're pleasantly surprised when it happens. The synchronicities come into your life, the people you meet, the book falling off the shelf, the fact that you know that you're not alone, the fact that you know that you're being taken care of, the fact that the transpersonal dimensions are real. What does that do for your everyday personal life? Well, it opens it up into an expanded view of yourself and your part in the creation of consciousness. And for me, personally, that changes everything. Because I am no longer just this man here in this miserable existence, suffering pain and, suffering and limitations. But I am part of the hologram of consciousness, expressing itself as me here right now. And so are you. And so is everybody. So when I know that and you know that and we all know that, how can we discriminate against everybody? Because we look into the face of the people who are suffering, into the people we don't like, into the people we project our shadow onto, and we see another being, another aspect of consciousness, trying to find its way home to the source again. The question for me is, and you, is what can I do to help? It's probably true to say that if humanity doesn't take action now on the inner level, and Jung said this, he said, the future of humanity and the human species hangs by a thread. And that thread is the consciousness of man. And what he meant by that was that, and we see it being acted out in our world today, that unless we take ownership of our own shadow and stop projecting it out onto the world, unless we become more conscious that everything is sentient and nature is alive and that we are an expression of that beauty and that nature, unless we see that cutting down a tree just for the sake of it is killing a sentient being, or slaughtering animals for food in factories goes against the spirit of creation, that if we don't begin to see these things and don't begin to work this way, there's a good chance we'll burn ourselves out as a species. Because in this Wetiko mind virus craving for materialism and consumption will burn up the planet because it won't be able to sustain us anymore. Now, the planet will probably survive because it has done before and will regenerate itself, but we may not survive. These guru types nowadays going around putting themselves out as, the one, the way. You follow me, you follow my disciplines. That's just a throwback to the old religions of the book again. You want to know something, go there, find it out for yourself. Because what we're talking about is getting in touch with the supreme cosmic principle directly. I was losing my identity. I was dissolving into this light. My vibration was going so high, and I was terrified. And I stopped it eventually. It took a lot to do. And 7 years later, it took me 7 years to get back to that experience. I was so thrown by it. I had the experience where I dissolved into that light, became the radiant divine, experienced oneness and creation with everything. And it was the most beautiful experience I've ever had. And it has motivated me. It has influenced me. It is why I live the life I live now. It's why I do what I do today. It's because of that experience, because I had the realization that everything is one. One is everything. We're all aspects of the divine creation. Everything is a manifestation of God, or whatever you want to call it. And that we all have a part to play in the evolution of consciousness. Yours is doing the work you're doing out there. Mine is doing the work I'm doing here. But when you touch that on a real, deep, experiential level, you never forget it. and you become it. And no matter what happens in your life, everything changes. As I said earlier, your whole perspective on life changes. It's an ultimate form. So what they're saying really, in the beginning there was the one, the pristine state of consciousness, and it could bored, want to experience some other, and then it separated from itself. And as Ken Wilber would say, it involuted down into matter, into planets, universes, and persons and people, insects, bacteria, everything. In order to have the joy of re-experience itself as it evolved back to itself through raising its frequency through higher vibrational states, by doing all the work we talked about doing today. So that's what we're doing. On a personal level, we're doing it on a transpersonal level. So it's all about the same thing. It's all about returning to the source according to these experiences. It's all about not just healing our depression or healing our woundedness. It's actually the wound that's giving you the fuel, that drives the rocket of individuation that propels you to these higher states of consciousness. There we are. Back up to this level again. But all we got to do is turn the whole thing around again and go from the personal to the transpersonal and expand our awareness and our consciousness, and we realize what Alan Watts said is vitally true. We are more than our physical bodies. We are not just a skin encapsulated ego. And that if we take the right steps and do the work, the inner work that I spoke about, through using non-ordinary states of consciousness, through holotropic breathwork, sacred plants, psychedelic sessions, in a safe way, supported by people who've been down the road in front of us, and that's important. The guide must know the map. We can have these type of experiences. And when we come back from those expanded states of transpersonal experiences, we're changed. We're changed forever. We're changed for the better. And the world is better for that, because we are better in the world. And we're naturally more ecologically minded. We're naturally more compassionate and kind towards other people. And we naturally want to help others reach the levels of revelations and insights and awareness that we have had.